forward. And one of them is to identify indicators of sustainability in the Pioneer Valley. And for those of you who've thought about sustainability, you know there are thousands of sustainability projects around the world. And so we had a wonderful group of grad students at UMass who did the research, collecting all the past projects, and we decided to do a top-down, bottom-up process. So they did the research on the indicators of what other people have done, and then we did a grassroots effort to ask people in the Valley, what do you care about? And so that we would do this values-based identification of concerns and then impose the indicators of what people have looked at around the world. And so we just did our baseline of indicators, and Rick is here, who's one of our key people helping us with the indicators. And so now we're moving to the next point of how are we going to display that information. And so you can check out pvsustain.org to see what we have right now, but in the coming months we'll have a better sense of it. And the idea, again, is to help us all to work toward a common goal, but within our individual areas of expertise, but so that we're collaborating and enhancing each other's efforts and not, hopefully, being as efficient as we can, but without stifling creativity or innovation. So we'll have indicators that we hope will serve as guides for communities as well as projects. What we've always talked about is in Montague, they're building a police department, and they want to know what could they do. They have a limited budget, but they want to know what could they do to enhance, what are the things they should be concerned about. So the idea is we'd have these indicators that people could check what they're doing, and then we'd also have this skills bank, which again we've got 130 people that are active on the list of the Pioneer Valley Sustainability Network. We are becoming a member-based organization now where people have to pay dues, and so of course people are maybe going to drop away, but hopefully more people will come in. And so the indicators are there. The other big product that we created was this green building decision support tool. And again, the idea is we focused on green building for now because that was the interest of the the industrial engineer, Professor Aaron Baker. But the idea is we've now got this software, which again you can check out, and then we're going to create a decision support tool for water, for land use, for other topics that are of interest to people in the Valley. But so right now it's green building, and it's designed for individual property owners' residences. So if you've got a home, you can go to that tool, put in your square footage, put in your energy costs, and say, well, gee, if I did this much, if I put solar up or if I switched to biomass or something, what would the effect be, both in terms of cost, greenhouse gas emissions, and health to your community in terms of the other air pollutants that you're putting out and that are affecting people's health in terms of asthma. So those are products. The other thing we did is, I don't know how many of you have heard of the Art of Sustainability or seen the table set for forever. Has anybody seen that? Raise your hand. None of you? Oh, one person. Well, that's good. At least two people. So we did this regional art contest to create a physical metaphor of sustainability. And we had 20 submissions, and we had an event at the Academy of Music in Northampton. And this woman right here, Jane Vagescheider, is an artist from Shelburne Falls. She won with this idea, which is called a table set for forever. And this is obviously the community process that she had creating it. But it's going to be at the library, the UMass library, in September, we hope. Is it September, Madeline? Yeah, September. So you'll all be able to see it then if you're still at UMass. So that's another thing that, again, to try and reach the public and educate people and get people to understand that sustainability is not just, energy and food, but it's also art and culture, and it's all aspects of our life. So then we're moving on the skills bank. So the challenges in terms of sustainability, again, I think you're probably all aware of them. I would say that one of the big things is that it's not particularly sexy. The solutions to our problems in terms of sustainability are really the basic things, live within our means. It's kind of going back to things that we maybe knew when we were children and then we lost track of. It's also a cultural conflict because there is an element of American life that clearly wants to consume and that takes pride in being able to waste things because it shows that we're rich. And if you've lived in other cultures, places that are really poor, there's hardly any garbage because everything is reused and recycled. And so obviously we're striving for a different kind of lifestyle that contradicts a lot of our American values. So that is a challenge. The funding obviously is a challenge, politics, so those are some of the issues. And then again, I just wanted to say there's so much stuff happening. You'll hear about 3 different examples from the panelists. These are just a few. We have some case studies on the Pioneer Valley Sustainability Network website, and then based on what you all know, there are areas of the valley that are really well organized, like the food people are really well organized. We've had communities involved sustaining ag forever, and now we've got PV Grows, And then we still have local examples as well as these regional examples. Transition towns is, how many people are familiar with transition towns? So that's an idea that's come from the United Kingdom, but it's really taking off in our region. We've got networks throughout the valley. And then again, there's just tons of groups that are getting organized. So these are a few of the websites, but we've got very many of them. And it's not, again, I guess one thing I quickly want to say is that there's money from the feds to do sustainability planning on a regional scale, and we're going to be applying for those funds. And if you have ideas and you want to share them, you can talk to me. And that's how you can get a hold of me. Thanks. Next. Is it 2A? No.
Yes, I'm going to introduce our next speaker, Rudy Perkins, and a brief biography here. Rudy is a former public television producer for the National Victory Garden series from WGBH, and is also a former professional gardener and small-scale organic farmer. He's turned lawyer a decade ago in mid-career. Since becoming a lawyer, he's worked as a law clerk for the Chief Justice Marshal at the Supreme Judicial Court in Massachusetts, and as a lawyer doing real estate and environmental law for a major Boston law firm. For the past 7 years, he's worked as a project manager and staff attorney for HAP Housing, a nonprofit in Springfield, Mass. That builds affordable housing. He's also a member of the board of directors for Nuestras, Raices in Holyoke. And we're getting there. But I wanted to say thank you so much, Catherine. As you can see, there's an incredible amount of going on in this valley, and Catherine is the resource for it. Good? Almost there? Yeah.
We're there.
Okay. Rudy Perkins.
Thank you so much. As Meg said, I'm a project manager and staff attorney at HAP Housing, which is a nonprofit that builds affordable housing in Hampden and Hampshire counties. And what I want to say tonight draws on that experience, but I want to make clear I'm not here speaking for HAP. I also publish a website on sustainability issues called Sustenance. But most of what I want to talk about tonight draws from my experience with HAP working in one community in Springfield, the Old Hill neighborhood, which is right, if you know Springfield Metro Center, that's the downtown area. You've got the Connecticut River on the left, and the Old Hill is a strategically placed neighborhood that we've been trying to revitalize. I've been working there for about the past 5 years. And through that work and just my wider readings about sustainability, I really feel we're going to need to touch on some of the wider dimensions of sustainability in order to make our work really become successful. Most people are obviously focused on the energy issue in sustainability, and that's sort of the heart and soul of it. But probably most of the people in this room realize that we're really going to have to make our communities sustainable, we're going to have to deal with a lot of other physical systems, our food and agriculture, how we build our buildings, our housing, transportation systems, and also some of the issues that aren't raised as often, water, waste management, manufacturing, and so on. And I'll talk about housing more tonight in our experience in the Old Hill. But from that experience, I've really learned that we're going to also have to deal with the social infrastructure. That's really going to be key to sustainability. Issues like employment and education, healthcare, and in the Old Hill, what's become very important is just public safety and crime. And finally, at the other end of the crime spectrum, if you want to put it that way, is the whole Wall Street and financial crimes, which have totally trashed the housing market and really made our work building affordable housing very difficult. So I think for sustainability, we're going to have to look at the bigger political economic framework as we broaden our movement. Well, back to the Old Hill. It's a really important neighborhood because it's in the heart of Springfield. It's the triangle between, the residential triangle between, on the northwest, Springfield Technical Community College. On the southeast, the long century-old, if you've never been to Springfield College, it's a beautiful campus, liberal arts school right in the heart of Springfield on its southeast corner. And American International College is actually just off the northeast. There's a lot of churches and other institutions. This is Dunbar Community Center, a beautiful gymnasium. They have dance studio, computer classes for kids in the neighborhood.